Hello, DevOps friends. Hello, Nocturnal Shake. How you doing? So, welcome to Full Stack Live. I'm Jochen, the Monospace Mentor, and lots of stuff to do today. I almost don't know where to start. Yesterday, I spent most of the day trying to get my my Mastodon instance back online. So we might have to do a little bit work on that. I also have to urgently write an answer on my community forum, the server room, to which you can get more information at theserverroom.sh. And a community member posted something very interesting there. Interesting there. Oof, I can't talk. I've been wanting to answer to that post for days now, and I think it's time. And I'd also like to continue work on my network simulation, for which I'm exploring DragonRuby, a game development toolkit, because it makes things so easy. I wanted to have an animated simulation of network traffic between a client and a server and a load balancer in between and all these things. And load balancer, I guess, will be a recurring topic today because the issue with my Mastodon instance was load balancer related as well. What happened there was for some reason let me take a step back. The architecture is, I was running Exegete. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the stack. Hope you're doing great. Happy Thursday. Good morning. So my Mastodon instance was designed with a scalability in mind, because at the time we built it, which was at the end of 2022, I think. My company was considering adding Mastodon hosting to our portfolio, because we are specialized in high-end managed hosting. And so I built geekdom.social, my own Mastodon instance, in a little bit over-engineered. So it's running a dedicated database system and has separate servers for job processing, its own web server, which has always been a little bit of a concern for me. Running a single web server is, of course, not too resilient, but it worked out nicely so far. We didn't run into any load problems, and outages weren't a problem either. But we still put a load balancer in front of that single server just to be able to add more nodes if load, for example, would require it. And also because the load balancer would make handling SSL certificates easier, because we decided to get a load balancer service from Hetzner, where we run our whole infrastructure. And so I clicked myself a load balancer, told it the domain, and it started passing traffic through it, and liaised with Let's Encrypt to get the SSL certificate, and that was it. I did appreciate not having to do any work for that. Until yesterday, when said load balancer decided to not pass traffic through to our web node anymore. For reasons I can't tell. I tried to investigate. I reached out to tech support twice, didn't get any answer. And since I don't have access to the load balancer itself, and the load balancer doesn't expose any detailed information other than the web node is allegedly unhealthy, it didn't pass through any traffic, and that took the whole operation down. I then finally started, when I couldn't make headway on this, I started setting up a second web node. And at the beginning, this too was then deemed unhealthy, and so it didn't make any difference. I experimented a little bit more, and in the end, I was able to get at least this instance working. So now we have 2 web servers for geekdom.social, one of which is unhealthy for some reason. It's I can reach it from the outside, no problem. The health check returns okay. Everything is okay from my point of view, but the load balancer disagrees. And we have another node now that seems to be healthy for the time being. But of course, that's really not a state I want to stay in. I could now go ahead and tear down the first web node, build a third one as a replacement, hoping that this will then be accepted by the load balancer. But this is just such a strange game of trial and error that I'm not going to go that route. What I am going to do is build my own load balancer and see if that load balancer is more agreeable with the initial node, or if there is something that I have completely overlooked so far. At least I'll get more transparency about the requests and responses this load balancer is going to get, because we're going to build it with Nginx. And yeah, I was hoping I could avoid the additional work of setting up a load balancer and having to manage that myself, having to set up certbots to get Let's Encrypt certificates and things like that. But apparently, if you can't trust stuff that you buy as infrastructure as service, well, you need to build it yourself, I guess. And it's going to be a learning experience, because I think it's a good idea to try and use Ansible for the setup of that machine from the get-go. I'm not familiar with Ansible yet. I've been using Chef for 14 years now. And it would probably take just a few minutes to get Chef working, because we already have a working Nginx cookbook where we can set up load balancers within minutes just by providing the necessary details. And Chef is going to do the rest, but I'd like to get into Ansible a little bit more. NBK Tech World, thanks for the follow. And yeah, this is going to slow me down a little bit because I have to learn and experiment, but I think it's a good idea, because if I use automation to set things up, even if it's just this singular node, it'll cost me less effort in the future when I need to set up a new node, maybe a second load balancer node to have redundancy there, something like that. Automation is the name of the game. This channel is called Full Stack Live, and we're doing DevOps here, so why would I just do manual work? So, I think I've talked myself into doing this today by now, I guess I'd like to actually start with that too. I can write my community response later if I need to, and I think this is more the core topic of my channel. Okay, yeah, so that's what we're going to do. Let's get on with it. Now, I think we already have a repository and just typing. I have another update. Today I'm using my Lulu 58, which is basically a luxury version of the Lily 58 split keyboard. It has a very nicely milled aluminium case and OLED screens and all things, 2 rotary encoders, so I can actually adjust volume and things like that. And today I read a tip that with split keyboards, people tend to rest their hands on the desk, anchor their hands in front of the keyboard, and that has the mechanical effect of not having as much force with which your fingers can press down, other than if you hover over the keyboard, where you can really put your arm's weight into it. And so that keyboard designer recommended using lighter switches if you are using a split keyboard. And I thought, well, that's actually a good idea. So I pulled out the heavier tactile switches that I had in this and replaced them with lighter linear switches. And I have to say, it does make a difference. Typing feels much more smooth and easy now, and I'm really enjoying the typing feel. So that might be a reason to not do the DevOps stuff, but first write an answer on our community forum, because that'll give me more of the keyboard feels. But I've already started, so let's go down this road. Jackson Riley, hello, welcome to the stack. I love good keyboard upgrade. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, I love a good keyboard anyway, but a keyboard upgrade is a great benefit. All right, so there is an Ansible. Oops, didn't mean to do that. An Ansible directory, but nothing in there yet, except for an inventory file that isn't even complete. I didn't get far, I'll have to admit. So we'll have to try and change this. I did not spawn a tmux session, so let's do that right away. And here we go. This Ansible config doesn't do much, but it does do something. And my inventory file here is just a list of 2 nodes. The second web node isn't in there, database nodes isn't in there, and well, the new load balancer node isn't in there yet either, because it doesn't yet exist. So let's see how to begin. I remember having an Ansible cookbook that is a little bit further advanced. Which one was that though? Where did I experiment with Ansible? Well, we can always use find, type D, name Ansible. Okay, so there is my personal Ansible cookbook. That did not work because there's already another Ansible. Oh, okay, good to know. My tat script doesn't work if the session name is identical. Well, let's cd there then and start tat from here. That doesn't work either. Okay. At least I don't have duplicate sessions. So what we'll have to do is start that manually. Ansible is. There we go. Let's take a look at this. All right. So in terms of inventory, No, that's not it either. Damn, where did I... Wait, that was for my cloud setup. I do remember now. Okay. That was for my course setup where I wanted to set up cloud instances for course participants. So we'll leave here and go to monospace, I guess. Still need to get used to my new keyboard layout. I did make a few slight changes to my split layout, and I'm very happy with these changes. I'm just not familiar enough with them. Muscle memory hasn't set in yet. But yeah, I switched back to a very conservative split keyboard layout where the thumb keys have clearly defined effects, and we don't have any dual role keys anymore. We don't have any home row mods anymore. I don't have any dual role thumb keys anymore because my little old brain is much more happy with clearly defined keystrokes apparently, and being able to switch between layers is nice, and everything else is fine. I'm apparently having the mod tap feature on, for example, where if you hold a key, it does a different effect than if you tap it. That kept confusing me, and I was making more mistakes than I wanted to. Okay, so monospace, and there is the cloud directory. And that's the one that I was looking for. Here I did my latest Ansible explorations, and we have an Ansible conf... Oh, that wasn't right. Let's go back. Ansible config here. Then there's an inventory.yaml with grouping. That's also important. And then we have the different playbooks. Okay, so I can actually copy the Ansible config and the inventory YAML and get inspired by that. We can close this. I'm not going to return here. And let's go here. Okay, so we can simply go and copy from monospace cloud, and we'll copy the Ansible config and the inventory.yaml. Oh, that wasn't good. That was not good. I copied the Ansible config into the inventory YAML. Oh dear. Why, oh why? And why do I actually have 3 windows open here? Actually says, I'm trying my best to stop resting my wrists on my desk by moving the keyboard right to the edge. So there's no space. It isn't working so well. I can't imagine. I think I remember trying that as well, and obviously it didn't stick. I think I'm happy with resting my wrists. Yeah, my hands are bent upwards slightly, but I think that should still be okay. The main difference I've made recently was to actually use the thumb keys that are closest to the center. I didn't think putting my thumbs outward would be better, but it actually is. Curling my thumbs caused me pain in the long run. And yes, of course, if you have a low-profile keyboard like the Voyager, that shouldn't be much of an issue anyway. When I type on my Cornish Zen, which is also a very low-profile keyboard, yeah, why wouldn't I rest my hands on the desk for that? In my case here, with a bigger case and MX style switches, the keycaps are actually pretty high. I also have high profile keycaps here. Those are cam profile keycaps. It's pretty high for a keyboard that lays flat on the desk, and I think it's still okay. Okay, so let's hope. Let's go to window number 4 here, and go to monospace, ML Cloud. Oh, good. I have a Git repository in here. That's a great reason to actually have a Git repository, even if you don't do any deployment or stuff like that. Being able to recover from mistakes like I just made, that's so much of an advantage. So let's try again. We wanted to copy all this here. We can remove the inventory file. And, well, following what I just said, I basically should do a git init here. We'll make a commit once we've made some significant changes. So that's the Ansible config where we actually address the inventory YAML. We want root as the remote user, and we're going to use the IDRSA Ansible key as our private key file. Then, of course, we'll have different groups. In my case, I call them simply web, where we have web1.masto1.fediverse.net, and then, of course, web2. And I guess we'll simply copy a playbook as well, so we can get a ping. And what we also have to do is then to copy the Ansible key to the machines. I think that's something that I'm going to do right away. So let's do a copy ID -i home.ssh id. Is that still an RSA key? RSA Ansible to web 1 master1 fediverse.net. I don't need a colon here. Yeah, we'll have to copy that to the root account. Okay, let's do the same for web 2. As I said, I need to get used to this new keyboard layout. All right. Good, good, good. And I wanted to copy I need to teach myself how this works. Now I've overwritten my files again. What was the other playbook? That was setup.yaml. So let's go back to the editor and fix the Okay, that's that. Let's go to setup YAML. I'll call it web YAML. We don't need any We could actually provision those as well, but not now. And here we'll simply say ping servers, hosts, web. Gather facts, no, we don't. Do we? I don't think we need that. Remote user is going to be root. And we'll simply do a ping. That's pretty much it. And we simply call that web YAML. Wow, okay. Worked at first attempt. I don't take that for granted because, yeah, as I said, I'm only getting started using Ansible. So even in these very trivial things, I expect myself to make lots of mistakes. But yeah, everything seems to be working nicely. I mean, I started with web servers, even though web servers aren't my main concern at the moment. We have at least one web node that is running nicely and is getting recognized by the load balancer. So I guess I should rather be focusing on the load balancer, but in order to get a little bit more familiar with Ansible, I think I'm gonna stick with the web nodes for the time being. Something that I'd like to do is update the packages on there. That's something that I'll need to do regularly, and that's definitely worth my time setting this up. So let's do Ansible apt update. How to do that? Manage apt packages. I'm using Ubuntu LTS versions for all my machines, but even those need to be upgraded every so often, once a week or so, should be done. And let's see how, is there any example playbook that we can use here? There are the examples. Install Apache. We'll need something like that later when we want to install Nginx. And where's the update? Update the repository cache and update package Nginx to latest version. Is there more? Yeah, here. Update all packages to their latest version. So we'll grab that. And let's do name. Oh, there's already a name in there, so I can simply copy and paste everything. So that's that. I think we should also do update cache. Let's see what happens. Oh, there is not a valid app. The built. Wait, Ansible built-in apt is not a valid attribute for a play. I think I have an issue with my. Ah, yes, of course. I guess if we dedicate this whole playbook file to web servers, I think we can put hosts web at the beginning. And then we'll have the tasks here. Not sure what's the best way to structure these playbooks. If you are more experienced using Ansible than I am, please pop into chat and let me know how you would structure this, because this seems a little bit redundant, having a play and then also having these tasks. What is supposed to be a play, and then do I have multiple tasks under that, or how do I structure that? That's something that I am not sure about yet. So I think that's how it's supposed to look. Nocturnal Shake says use roles, and roles are either self-built or third-party packages, basically, that do predefined stuff, right? And then I could include that role and simply say update my package. Would I then have something like a maintenance play, for example, and under that I'll do the package update and add SSH keys or things like that, everything that you could list under maintenance then? I'll have to read up on roles, I think. That's good advice. I only have very cursory knowledge about that, but let's try this first and see if I can get something to work at least. So ping servers did work, and now we are in the update play. Web 1 is updated. And Web 2 was updated too. Web 1 was already up to date, and Web 2 needed some upgrades, and that worked. Okay. So that's definitely easier than having to log in manually and doing update and upgrade all the time. This is something that I can do easily during a lunch break. Okay. I think it's a good idea to actually read up on Ansible roles. So let's do that. Ansible roles. I need to be able to distinguish these things from playbooks and stuff like that. So here we go. It says roles let you automatically load related variables, files, tasks, handlers, and other Ansible artifacts based on a known file structure. After you group your content into roles, you can easily reuse them and share them with other. Okay, so yeah, of course, the reusability is the main aspect here. So in that regard, Ansible roles are more or less equivalent to chef cookbooks. You'll have a role around a specific service, say, for example, so you'd have an Nginx role, and that role can do all kinds of stuff like install it, update it, set up configuration, maybe set up a site, a virtual host, things like that. That does make sense. So once I need more structure in my playbooks, I'll definitely use roles, and I guess I should also look into an Nginx role that I can simply include from Ansible Galaxy, I think. And yeah, down here we have sharing roles, Ansible Galaxy. So I don't have to reinvent the wheel here. If I simply want to set up an Nginx proxy that does a little bit of load balancing and SSL handling. Good. Thanks for the advice, Nocturnal Shake. That means we could go on and actually try and find an Nginx role that we can use. So let's do that. Ansible Nginx role. There's an Nginx Inc. Ansible role. So that looks like an official Ansible role for Nginx. I don't think it can get better than that. So let's see. We need specific collections. Okay. Not sure what a collection is, but from the names, looks like kind of a library. More like internal logic rather than configuration management stuff. Molecule is the test harness. That's also something that I would love to get into, but not at this time. Not for today. That's something for another stream. But I'm a great fan of using test-driven development, or even just tests, even if they're not driving, because the peace of mind you get when you have a reliable test suite can't be beat. I've been doing system administration since 1993, and yeah, peace of mind is at the top of my list by now. Okay, so installation, Ansible Galaxy. Install the latest stable release of the role in your system. Ansible Galaxy install nginx inc.nginx. Okay, to use the role, include the following task in your playbook. Install nginx. Ansible built-in include role name nginx inc.nginx. Okay. What else does it do, though? Okay, here we have role variables. Example playbooks. Working functional playbook examples can be found in the molecule folder. Uh-huh. And those playbooks have specific purposes, and then you could simply call a generic converge.yaml file. Interesting. That's also something I need to get more familiar with. Naming schemas and conventions. Actually, I can't see how this is really useful for me at this time. Okay. You can find the Ansible Nginx core collection of rules to install and configure Nginx open source here. Nginx core collection. And then there's the Ansible Nginx configuration role. Okay. Oof, so much stuff. What's the difference to this one role here? Or is this the role? No, that's Ansible collection Nginx. Interesting. So we'll have to look into these two. The Ansible collection includes a variety of Nginx Ansible roles. Oh, a collection is another layer above roles. Interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. Ugh. I need to get more sleep. I'm really struggling with getting more sleep. I really want to, but doesn't work as easily as I thought. Okay, so the Nginx I'm already saying cookbook. The Nginx role here is just part of this collection, I see. Nocturnal Shake says you can do playbooks, Nginx XML, Nginx YAML, roles. Wait, I'm pretty sure you meant that as a directory tree, right? Playbooks in their Nginx YAML, and under their roles, and in their Nginx tasks, and in their main YAML. Am I reading this right? Unfortunately, Twitch botched your indentation and even your line breaks. But I'll keep that in mind. So, okay, playbooks and roles are different directories on the same level then. I see. Why not start structuring things from the get-go in that way? So we'll do a playbooks. I see. Yeah. We'll create a playbooks and a roles directory. I think I'm starting to understand. And playbooks would be more abstract, right? So I would have a web playbook, as I've started one now, and a load balancer playbook, for example. But both of them will actually use an Nginx role, because on the web servers I'm using Nginx simply to manage traffic, so we don't talk to Puma directly on port 3000. And on the load balancer, of course, we need Nginx in a central role as the actual load balancer. And that way things are separated and reusable. All right. So what we're going to do is let's start by moving the web.yaml into the playbooks directory. We'll create a web directory in here, and then we can actually adopt this naming convention where the playbook name is the directory name, and then we'll simply have a converge YAML, so it's very clear which YAML file to run Ansible playbook on. So we'll rename that to playbooks/web/converge.yaml. And by doing that in NeoVim, I can keep my buffer open without losing the file. Okie dokie. And that means over here we are now in converge YAML. Okay. And we can go ahead and create a load balancer directory, and in here we'll create another converge.yaml file. And I think for the time being, I'll copy and paste this in here. And we'll use the load balancer group in here. I don't think I have a load balancer node yet. I tried to set one up yesterday. I then installed Varnish because I thought, yeah, load balancer and Varnish would be also a nice addition with its caching abilities, because I don't have a CDN in front of the Mastodon instance. And then I realized, oh, Varnish can't do SSL termination, and so we'll have to set it up with Nginx. And then I said, oh, all that hassle, and I tried to get the load balancer working, the Hetzner load balancer, but I couldn't. So at the moment, I don't have a load balancer node yet. I guess that's something we'll have to create as our next thing. But let's actually go here and we'll create a load balancer inventory group, and that's of course going to be lb1.master1.fediverse.net. But this node does not exist yet, so I'll have to set one up. Give me a second while I do that. I guess that can be a very small image, a very small instance, 2 virtual CPUs, 4 gigs of RAM should be more than enough. And my own SSH key, no volumes, no, I don't even need backups, no, don't need a placement group. No labels for the time being, and we'll name that. Neither Nocturne Shike, I'm provisioning stuff at Hetzner. Hetzner has been our infrastructure provider of choice for 14 years or more, and we are very happy with their services and pricing. LB1 master1 fediverse.net, create and buy. I could have used the Hetzner role, actually, the Hetzner Cloud role, to even instantiate this node, but that would require me to set up API keys and stuff like that, and I didn't want to deal with that for this very static infrastructure. With my course participant setup, it's a different use case where I always have to set up new instances for a new course for the new participants, and then have to tear it down after the course and create a new set of VMs for the next course and stuff like that. So all this up and down does actually warrant dealing with the Hetzner Cloud API and having everything automated, including setting up the instances themselves. But this Mastodon instance will have very static infrastructure, and so I don't mind having to set up machines manually. Okay, so we should be good. Let me see if this works. So I should be able to SSH into root at, well, the name doesn't exist yet. That's something that I need to set up myself as well, so give me just a second. For the time being, I can actually use the IP address, but setting up a DNS entry is not complicated either. So we'll call that LB1, not master1, and the address is actually LB1. Yeah, this one will have a TTL of an hour, so we can actually change that if need be. That's that. So the name should be available soonish. Until it is, I'll simply try and use the IP address. Let's see, IP address. Oh, interesting. Might that be an IP address that I used yesterday? Maybe that got reused. Interesting. I don't think there are date entries in my known hosts, aren't there? I would be curious when we did actually use this instance. How is that key already? Or this name? No, it's the IP address that got reused. Interesting. Probably just a coincidence that I got the same IP address back as I did yesterday. Alright then. 3 entries actually. Huh. Alright, here we go. And it's already named LB1. That is nice. So next thing we're going to do is SSH copy ID. And we'll use the IP address here as well. And actually, since I'm in window 3 of my tmux session, I can actually go into playbooks, load balancer, And now I'll always be able to use Converge. That also makes my shell history much easier to manage, because I don't have to modify that when I use it in different directories. It's also an advantage. And there's Balthazar. Good morning, sir. Happy Thursday. By the way, I did not talk about yesterday's hot seat session on the server room. If you're not familiar with the server room, that's the community of DevOps practitioners I've created. It's a membership community, and members get a lot of value out of their membership fee, because we do a lot of different events, not only casual hangouts where we simply have chats in the evening, at least it's the evening for me, and we also do something that's called a hot seat, where a community member volunteers to present us with a project that they'd like feedback on, or with an issue they are struggling with. And then I both try to give some feedback and advice myself, and I also facilitate feedback from the other community members who can also join the call. And so it's actually a bit of a hot seat for the volunteering community member, but hopefully after about an hour they'll leave with practical feedback, actionable advice, and hopefully also increased motivation. And I have to say that was the case yesterday when we did our first hot seat session with Johan and his Kubernetes project. I will post the recording to the community forum, so you can watch it after the fact. And it was a lot of fun, and I'm happy that we did have the desired effect of having someone get great feedback back and be able to learn from that, even though in that regard the feedback was so positive, because apart from a small little bug in terms of Debian compatibility, everything was almost perfect. Johan did such a great job in structuring his Kubernetes setup, and he wrote a great README that was a super guide for someone not familiar with the project to go step by step, getting things installed on a Minikube setup. I did go through all the steps, and even though I wasn't familiar with the software the project was about, named Cortex, which is basically a SecOps dashboard. Even though I wasn't familiar with that at all, I was able to get it set up within minutes, and the README was written great. Johan also included a setup script that automated all these setup steps, and apart from the bug that I found, it worked greatly. It just installed everything I needed on the VM that I had spun up for the test, and after a few minutes I was able to log into Cortex. And that was, that was really great. So I had a lot of fun. Johan had a lot of fun. And I'm definitely looking forward to our upcoming hot seat sessions. If you are already a member of the server room, please consider volunteering for a hot seat session. If you are not a member, please consider becoming one. It's definitely worth the modest admission fee, and it's a great bunch of people in the server room. I enjoy it a lot, running the whole thing, and you'll definitely get something out of it, I promise. Okay, so let's go back to our playbook. let's see. If I go here, the name might not work actually. Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. How do we deal with that? Is the inventory part of a playbook? Do I have to maintain separate inventories for all my playbooks? That wouldn't make sense, would it? Well, it might, but having a central inventory would be more convenient, wouldn't it? That's another thing that I need to research. Ansible playbook directory structure. Sample Ansible setup. Production staging. Those are two inventory files and they are top level. Then there are variables. Ah, yeah, interesting variables directories. And tasks included from playbooks. Avoids confusing playbook with task files. I guess that refers to the extra suffix here. Bethesda says you can use one inventory to rule them all. Makes sense. And I would like to do that. Then we have roles, common, tasks. Oof, okay. That is very detailed. Uh-huh. Site.yaml is the main playbook, and web servers, okay. So the playbooks are actually top-level files here, and we have subdirectories for tasks and roles. Uh-huh. Okay, I can see how... Okay. So we'll restructure our setup here a little bit. It's getting warmer in here. The day started out a little bit chilly with only, I don't know, 11 degrees or something. But now I have over 24 degrees in here, so I think I'll open the window a little bit more. And also turn on the fan. Shouldn't create any additional noise. Let me know if it's creating noise after all. I can't notice it because of my headphones. Alright, so let's see what Balthasar advises us to do. In the example, they show a sane logical boundary for multiple inventory files of deployment environments. Yep. I can see why you would want to separate production from staging, but in an inventory file you could have web servers, database servers of different regions. Yep, makes sense. So let's actually go... Oops, that didn't work. And change that. So what we'll change is we won't have a playbooks directory. Instead, we'll have a load balancers or load balancer playbook and a web playbook in the same directory. Yeah, I think that makes sense because I don't think these playbooks... No, there aren't any playbook specific stuff. Variables are more group or host based or related, so those should reside in different directories. Okay. Let's play it by the book, shall we? So I'm going to rename this to... that's the load balancer YAML file. Now we are in playbooks. We'll need to push it one level higher still. And let's do the same with this one. So that's going to be 2 levels up and web.yaml. And that means we can actually delete the playbooks directory. And that means now we can actually also reference our inventory YAML file. Okay. That also means that I'll have to go up here, which is basically the main directory anyway. So I'll close this window and go into window 2. And here I should now be able to run the load balancer YAML file, right? Yeah, the Ansible key didn't have that in known hosts. No, that the name wasn't in there. The name wasn't in there. Apparently the DNS resolution already works. So we were able to ping and gather facts. And now it's updating packages. Nice. So next step will be to install Nginx. Love it. So far, this is working nicely. Load balancer. Okay. So let's see. Let's go back to Nginx. The Nginx config role. Let's take a look at that. We need more collections. So I'll have to find out how to install these collections if they're not already there. This role can be installed via either Ansible Galaxy or by cloning this repo. Once installed, we'll need to include the role in your Ansible playbook using the roles keyword, the import role module, or the include role module. I guess we'll use the roles keyword then. That sounds like it's most straightforward. Okay, install Nginx config role, and how to install the Ansible collection that we also need. Installation. Okay, so let's start by doing this. Okay. That's Nginx core. And yeah, those are the dependencies. Okay. So that's the Nginx core. You can also include the collection in a requirements YAML file and use that. I think we're going to use that to make things easier. That's a good idea, I think. So, wait. So, question is, if we don't use a version, do we get the latest version then? Let's see, we'll do Ansible Galaxy collection install, but -r requirements.yaml. Nothing to do, already installed. All right. And Balthasar says anything not in the Ansible.star key space is not built in. So in this case, yeah, the whole Nginx stuff. Okay. But there are community general, I would expect to be something generic, right? That doesn't seem to be directly Nginx related. Anyway, we'll get into that later. So let's see. We also need the Nginx Inc. Nginx config. How does this actually look? Yeah, so I guess we'll simply add another name here. And run this again. Oh, didn't work. Could not satisfy following requirements. Nginx Inc. Nginx config. .star. Even though it looks the same as the one above. Wait. Does this work? Yeah, that does work. Is that a syntactical issue? Let's see. Ansible requirements.yaml. Galaxy user guide, yep. Okay. Installing roles from Galaxy, finding collections, installing multiple roles from a file. I guess that's my... Or here, installing roles and collections from the same requirements. Okay, maybe... Oh, I need to differentiate between roles and collections. Yeah. So, I did... Theo, welcome to the stack. Happy Thursday. Good morning. All is well. I'm a little bit unhappy about the load balancer that serves my Mastodon instance, geekdom.social, because that Hetzner load balancer, for some reason, thinks my previously only web server was unhealthy, even though it worked great. And therefore cut off all traffic from my web server for hours until I set up a second web node that, for a reason I don't know either, is identical but considered healthy. And now the website is back, but I'm now paving the way to running my own load balancer. I'm getting myself familiar with Ansible, and I'm going to use Ansible to set up my own load balancer, because that load balancer will probably then recognize that both nodes are healthy, and if it too has some problems with my initial node, with my Web 1, then I'll have more insight into its logs and stuff like that to find out what actually is wrong, because I can't find any problem with that node. I can access it through its public IP, I can access it through its private IP. The health check returns okay, and a HTTP status 200. Everything looks great, and still the load balancer says, nope, not serving traffic to that node. So, yeah, we'll see. I'll have to set up my own load balancer for this, but it's going to be a learning experience, because it'll teach me a little bit more Ansible automation. So now, I guess the Nginx config is a role, so we'll have to have a different header. Yeah, that's not a collection, that's a role. And by doing it this way, I should be able to use my requirements. YAML, nothing to do, everything is already installed manually, so that's nice, but it's documented this way. We have all our dependencies in this file. Great! So, next step, installing Nginx. How do we do that? Nginx role. Maybe we'll have to add these collections as well, we'll see. No, I don't think so, because Community General already got installed, and I think I also saw the Ansible.posix. And that should be in Ansible anyway, so okay. Yeah, to use the role, do this. We simply include a role, namely the nginx inc.nginx. And that's it. So let's go to our load balancer playbook. But that's going to be a task again, right? No, it's not. Because all we do is include a role, right? Can't open file. Load balancer YAML. Okay, wait a second. Something's not right. Why does it have this strange... path? Oops. And how is this empty now? Oh, there's a warning, yeah. Yes, please load the file. Hello? File has been created after editing started. That's very strange. Okay, let's try this again. There's an error. Built-in include role is not a valid attribute for a play. I guess we will have to create a task. Oh yes, it says include the following task in your playbook. Alright, so... the thing that I find strange is that I have these plays, and then I have basically the same thing as a task. I think what makes more sense is to group tasks in some kind of a category. So we could have a play preparation. Wouldn't this make more sense? Let me know what you think. But I think I'm going to call this play preparation, where we don't have to gather facts, do we? And then I'll have ping. I don't even need that ping anymore. That was just to test stuff out. So we do a few preparation steps here, and then we'll set up Nginx in this play. And the first task in there is to install Nginx. Yep. And after that, we'll have another task, configure Nginx, for example, or something like that. Let's see if this works. Host is required but was not set. I think we should actually set... no. We should set our hosts up here. Can I do that? not this way. This doesn't look like valid YAML, does it? No. Oh, right. Alternatively, you can then have an inventory subdirectory, but still the playbooks are top level here. Okay. Interesting. This playbook just defines hosts and then roles. Okay, so yeah, that way it only has to define the host once, and then it applies those roles to this whole thing, and the roles themselves then take care of everything. Mm-hmm. I'm learning a lot of about playbook structure here. Question is, can a role be as simple as this single file here? Where we also don't have tasks explicitly. Huh. Uh-huh. And let's see, we do import a playbook, web servers. That's the site YAML that takes care of everything. It does include the peer or sibling playbooks, web servers, and DB servers. All these three files are here at the top level. You have a direct view into my brain here. I'm really thinking aloud. And the web servers playbook, also at the top level, maps the configuration to the roles related. Okay. And then we have common. And since common has a tasks subdirectory, in main YAML, we can then simply list the tasks without having to repeat tasks : over and over again. Huh, I do like that. It's a little bit scattered, but it does make perfect sense. I like that. I think I'd like to do that. Maybe not right now. Thanks for confirming, Balthazar. Okay. Oh, wrong window. Here we go. So I'll have to undo that and actually do this. So that would be... Actually, that wouldn't be its own role anymore. That will be part of the load balancer role, I guess. Well, actually, update packages will be done so many times. We've already copy and pasted it from web to load balancer. So that actually deserves its own role. Interesting. Yeah, things are coming together in my brain. But for the time being, we'll live with a little bit of redundancy here. So let's see if this works now. Role was not found. How strange. Oh, we need to include or import a role, do we?
It's a Unix system.
Rathian! Thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it. To use the role, include the following task in your playbook. Ansible Winter include role. Nginx Inc. Nginx. But it wasn't found in .ansible role. Wait, what? We did install it though, didn't we? Nginx Inc. .nginx. Well, not quite. I think we were missing this one. Okay. So let's fix this. Is it because I'm using collection install? I think we just should be using install, right? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, that looks better. And if we run the load balancer, playbook now. Haha! Interestingly, there was a fatal error up here that Ubuntu 24.04 is not supported, but it ignored that and went on installing stuff. Okay. Why is it AR64? What did I do? Did I install an Ampere VM? Let me check. I might have misclicked. Yes, it's an ARM64 machine. Okay, that is not what I wanted to do. Okay, delete. That'll get us another error with SSH keys. I wanted to have an AMD machine, not an ARM machine. I probably misclicked there. Bye-bye. Let's create a new one. Ubuntu 24.04. Okay, I need to click x86, which is then Intel and AMD, and then I'll choose the smallest AMD machine. It's a euro more expensive, but no, it's not. Okay, so that's this one. 2 gigs, 2 CPUs should be enough for a load balancer. And I can upgrade it later if I need to. So, no placement group, nothing like that. And then we can reuse that name. Create. Unfortunately, that'll spoil our DNS entry that has a TTL of an hour. If the IP address didn't get reused, which IP address did we actually use? Let's see, if I do SSH... Oh, they did reuse the IP address. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. That means I just need to get rid of my host key. Let's do that. I can actually... I thought I'd... We can use the name, actually. It'll be... what am I doing? Here we go. Okay, and let's do an SSH. Let's run the playbook again, I guess. That will... why does this work? I did not copy my... Wait. That's strange. It seems to be using my personal SSH key instead of the Ansible one. I faintly remember having the same issue last time. I mean, I don't mind it using my personal key because that's the only one that's on the machine. Otherwise, I would have expected this all to fail because we hadn't yet copied the Ansible key over there. Maybe I just have to copy the Ansible key and it'll not fall back on my personal key then. Let's see now. Nginx is doing its thing. Still says is not supported. This time, at least we have the right architecture. And that's it. Nginx seems to be installed. Let's verify. SSH root at lb1. There we go. That was easy. Okay. So whenever I get into the situation that I need a second load balancer, it's going to be an issue of a minute or so. Brilliant. Automation FTW. Which means we can now go on to configuration. That is the Nginx config. And, well, I can, of course, use this task. But what does this actually do? This role configures Nginx config template variables. I can't imagine doing all the necessary setup of a proxy site using variables. Do I not have to provide my own configuration file template there? That looks how I want it to look like. How strange. Let's take a look at one of these playbooks. Complete converge.yaml. Let's do this one first. So let's see. Hosts all. Configure Nginx. It'll cause the role with a whole set of variables. But how does this look like? Config main template enable true, and here we have the main template where we seem to be using a template file that will get deployed to the main configuration, nginx.conf actually, which is not what I want to do. Okay, nginx config is the main nginx configuration, like worker processes and all that stuff. That's not what I'm looking for at all. I can do with mostly the default configuration for the time being, I think. What I'd like to do is a site. Here, service. But that's just going to use a different... okay, here we have the nginx config http template, where we provide a template file and still pass in configuration variables. That makes things a little bit more dynamic. I can see that. And here we define servers. Listen on port 80. We have locations. Interesting. Question is, how far does this go? I mean, we would have to set up SSL certificates and locations for that then do proxying. Let's see. Here we're talking HTTP default conf.j2. That's not in here. Is it in here? Yes, it seems to be. That's part of the role then. And in here it was... what was it? Oh, there's an upstream template. Huh. It is controlled by variables. Impressive. So we can define multiple upstreams. And then we have servers in these upstreams, where we even can define connections and stuff like that, and if there are backup servers. So yeah, I can define the whole proxy using this. Yeah, I was aware of that. Thank you, Balthasar. I'm quite familiar with all kinds of template syntaxes by now. Even Jekyll alone has 2 with ERB, and I think it does actually use Jinja as well. And then again, there's Terraform and all these things. Yeah. Fortunately, they're all very similar and just differ in basically the syntax of the placeholders. In this case, it's curly braces and percent signs, obviously, and double curly braces for placeholder replacements. Yeah, I think I'm familiar with that through Jekyll. Might as well be mistaken that too. Yeah, good. There's all kinds of stuff that I won't even need with hashing. Oh yeah, that's in terms of distribution. Queues, keep alive. All right. Huh. Okay. That is for upstream definitions, obviously. And we'll have to write our own file for that. Usually, we've so far included both upstreams and the proxy site definitions in the same file, but if I'm going to use this, that's of course not possible. So what would there's a proxy template where we would have to use a proxy macro with buffer sizes and stuff. And then oh, that's to define the whole proxy side of things with caching paths. That might come in handy. Not sure if this is even available in open source Nginx. At least there are so many options that I've never seen before. Okay, that's a proxy definition, which is a macro, so this won't create its own file, will it? A macro is different, I guess. Is it? SSL is also macro, so these are used to basically build a configuration. Where to start? Where to start though? Even core is a macro. We have the listen definitions. So even though it says templates, those are more template fragments, I guess. Only default seems to be the whole file. And here it calls these macros. So let's see, if we have config proxy, then it imports the macro definition and then calls the proxy macro. So this is where it all starts. Okay. Whoa, okay, that is something that that'll take a minute to wrap my head around. And then in config we have these servers over which it'll iterate here. Okay. Okay. So I can create my own Mastodon load balancer site file or vhost file. I just have to provide a configuration that has, well, in this case, 2 servers for port 80 and 443. And then it'll the 443 one will then also have an SSL key in there. Ooh, okay, okay, that is going to be interesting. Hey Moo, how you doing? Happy Thursday. Interesting. Okay, I could use some starter help here. What's WW? Oh, that's an actual index HTML file. Interesting too. Okay. Whew. Okay. Now let me see how this then again works. Let's check the default one again, I guess. So that's Nginx configuration. Yeah. Core log, but there are also servers. Okay, the config HTTP template here, which is HTTP default, while this one up here is Nginx conf. Okay, that's the central configuration, and that's then a generic configuration file that we can use. In this case, they write to const.d. I'm actually going to write to sites available, and it's going to be called mastodon.conf. Hey RJ, how are you doing? I'm actually working on geekdom.social at this particular minute. And RJ redeemed affirmations. I think we can use some. I'm a little bit overwhelmed by this whole configuration thing here. So DevOps affirmations will definitely help us with centering ourselves and getting some more peace of mind. I'm definitely going to enjoy this. And a baby redeemed posture check. That's also going great with affirmations as well. Oh dear. Okay. For DevOps affirmations, it's a good idea to sit back, relax, take a deep breath. And then just listen to some soothing affirmations. Begin by opening your heart to this exercise. Take a deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. You are in your happy place. Your code is well written and reliable. All your pipelines are green. You don't just think in software patterns, you live in software patterns. Your friends and family understand what you do. That application you took down had already been sunset by product management anyway. You are one with Kubernetes. Your sense of humor is appreciated by everyone around you. There will be no incidents today. You are happy. You are happy. You are happy. Now you know what it does. I hope you got some relaxation out of this. And maybe a giggle. And that means we can go back to doing some Ansible. And yes, of course, you can clip that too. Okay, so I guess we'll simply start with copying this. Throw a lot of stuff out, but keep the stuff that we want to use. And yeah, I guess for the time being, we'll copy it in here, even though that feels a little bit off, to be honest. Right, I think we need to configure Nginx config. Like that. That's a task, isn't it? Configure Nginx is a task. Though task. Okay. The tasks thingy got lost, I guess. So yeah, we have a task install and a task configure. Not going to uppercase Nginx all the time here. Okay, config debug output, nope. No main template. Just the HTTP template. We'll use the default conf. And we'll write that to Nginx sites available Mastodon conf. So RJ, just to get you into the loop, what happened yesterday was the Hetzner load balancer that I put in front of the admittedly single web server that I'm using for, I had been using for Geekdom.social, decided that the web server wasn't healthy anymore, and therefore it didn't pass through any traffic to it anymore, even though by my investigation the web node is perfectly all right and can be reached from the outside. I have no idea why the load balancer thinks that it's unhealthy, and that is the core of the problem. I have no idea, and I can't find out, because it's a infrastructure load balancer provided by Hetzner, and apart from unhealthy, it doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't even give me a HTTP error code or something like that. So I have actually started in this stream to build my own load balancer based on Nginx. And yes, your question, why use a load balancer in front of a single web server, is very valid. Well, when I set the whole thing up, I started with a single web server to simply get the instance online, anticipating that I would maybe have to, or that I would likely add a second web node.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
OMG, it's Switch Security 007, welcome. So I anticipated that I would set up a second node, and so I put this load balancer in front of it. Also because simply clicking myself a load balancer and entering the domain name already took care of the Let's Encrypt stuff. So that was just convenient. I didn't have to set up another server with Nginx, exactly the stuff that I'm doing now. So I saved myself some time there. And then everything worked so nicely that I never got around to add a second web node. The existing node was able to cope with the traffic no problem, and so I never took the time to set up a second node. Actually taking the time is another issue that I somehow need to solve, because that's also an issue, because so many things are competing for my time that at the moment I find it hard to put it into geekdom.social, to be honest. This is only emergency work that already takes away time that I would have spent otherwise. And so... But that's a different issue at all. Yeah, we'll have to talk about... sustainability another day. But for the time being, yeah, I'm going to set up my own load balancer now to either get my initial web node back into play, or at least to get a hint what's wrong, because I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find any issue. And unfortunately, I sent 2 support requests to Hetzner and didn't get a single answer, even 24 hours later now. So that's also disappointing. And if it works like that, then I'd rather set up another load balancer node, pay €3 more, and have full control over my infrastructure. Rathin asks, I am new here and would like your advice on some hosting choices. I've visited Monospace Mentor website and found it simple, and hence the question. My answer will be very biased, because I'm running monospacementor.com, which is a WordPress website, on freistebox.com. Biased because I'm the managing director of the company behind freistebox.com. We are specialized in high-performance WordPress hosting, also Drupal hosting. We do nothing else, and we've been doing that for 14 years. So I'm very comfortable with having my monospacementor.com website hosted at Freistebox. And yes, this makes setup actually pretty easy, because you simply deploy your code using git push and upload your files via SSH, and that's it. The platform is highly redundant, more redundant than my Mastodon setup here, which I have to take responsibility myself for. If I recommend freistebox.com to you, then that's for purely selfish reasons. Full disclaimer here. Alright, so core, default type, application octet stream, send file, keep alive, timeout. I have no idea. I don't think I'm going to need that. I'm not going to care about logs either, because that should already be taken care of by the default configuration. But I'd love to see my servers here. And I guess... yeah, core is then server name. Okay, so in this case, we'll have to use mastodon.social as the server name. Error pages, well, yeah. And 504x, I think that file does actually exist, but I'll take that out. Let's strip that down to the bare minimum. Locations, location slash. For the time being, we can set up a static web server here. Why it has index.html twice in there, I don't know. Usually you have something like index.php, index.html. So I guess we'll remove the redundant one. And then there's another location with the 50x, which I'll also remove. So we'll have a very simplistic configuration template here. I see. And then if I had more sites, I would simply list them here in this list or array as it is. Huh. Yeah. Okay. I can get used to this. I wonder if this works. Well, it doesn't, but this seems to be another role missing issue. Nginx config. I thought I had included that. Ansible role Nginx config. That's all dashes. Is that correct? Let's go back. We'll have to add that in our dependencies. Nginx inc, Nginx underscore config. And then we'll have to use it this way. Include role. Let's see. Yeah. No, wait. So this is wrong. It's probably different because it's part of the test suite where I copied that from. So I guess we'll just have to replace it with the official name. Ooh. Huh. Ignored one? What does ignored mean here? Warning, conditional state. Oh, that's is that the fatal error here that got ignored for some reason? Conditional statements should not include Jinja 2 templating delimiters, and that is in Nginx Inc. So I can't do anything about that anyway. Okay. Add break. I guess. Let's take a look. It did even create the directory, I think. Nice. Header comment here, and it did create this basic configuration. Oh, we're getting ahead. Like it. Of course, things need to be a little bit more complex here. But, I'm not sure if I'm taking this to the end today. I think it's my lack of sleep that keeps showing up at this time of day. If I when I do a live stream, I feel a little bit not sure, foggy, maybe. And thinking these things through and juggling all these details in my head is starting to get a little bit harder at this time of day. Which doesn't make me happy, to be honest. Let's see how far we can get. Still configuration, I guess. Reverse proxy. Let's take a look at this example. It does use the HTTP default conf as well, where it defines upstreams. Oh, look at that. So we'll start with that. We'll start with that. Configuration. That is convenient. So we have some upstreams here. Calls them upstream. I think I'll call them web, because that's the same term that I'm using for them in this Ansible playbook. Please connection true. Address then is going to be web 1.master1.fediverse.net, and the next address is going to be web 2. So we do we still need servers? Yeah, we do need servers. Yeah, we listen on port 80, have a server name, and then under the location here we don't have any core. Instead we have a proxy where we pass to HTTP web, and we'll set headers. Yeah, okay. Oh, whoops. Still getting confused. I haven't used this keyboard in a while, and it keeps tripping me up. Set header, where we set the host field according to the host that gets selected. And then there's another core where where the example listens on 8081 with its own log, and that is actually just the local web server. Subfilters, I've never used those, I don't think. But those seem to be useful because they set proxit 4 IP, for example. So I think that makes sense. Why doesn't that get set up here, though? No, wait. Yeah, we have this core for port 80, and then this core for port 8081, and that has all these subfilters where it seems to be replacing HTTP headers. And then another core for 8082, which is also the same root, also subfilters. Well, okay. And then it deploys to demo HTML files. Okay. I haven't used subfilters yet, so they don't seem to be necessary. Maybe some of them are, though. We'll find that out later. Let me see if this sets up something that looks like a rough proxy configuration, though. So let's save this, go here, and run our playbook again. Temperature might also be a factor in me getting a little bit weary, because there's 25 degrees in here. Okay, let's take another look. You can simply cat etc nginx, sites available, Mastodon conf. Here we go, 2 upstreams and very simple proxy that passes on to this upstream. And it sets the host header. We should probably also set the x44 header and things like that. But that's actually almost busy work at this point. I do like this. This is my first foray into setting up a proper server using Ansible, and so far it's going great. I'm really impressed, and I'm happy how easy this is. Yeah, exactly, Balthazar. You're perfectly right. Those headers are usually non-negotiable, so we'll have to take care of that. But I'll simply use the Nginx the Nginx documentation to find out all the stuff that we need. I can also take a look at the Nginx load balancers and proxies that we are actually using in FreeStillBox. We have Nginx servers that serve millions of web requests per day. And so those should be great examples from which I will copy heavily. Well, now you come with mentioning alternative proxies like Traffic or maybe even Caddy. You're perfectly right. I think setting up Caddy manually would have probably done the trick within a few minutes. I did not think of that, to be honest. You could have mentioned that really earlier. Since setting up Caddy is so easy, I might not even have considered automating that in the first place, because shooting myself another cloud instance, logging on with SSH, installing Caddy, and probably copying a configuration file from my workstation where I have a Git repository for these things, would probably have solved the problem even on a more long-term basis, because that way it would have been quite easy to get everything going, actually. Would I have learned anything? No, I wouldn't, and that's why don't be sorry. This was the plan from the get-go, not because I'm such a fan of Nginx or because I think it's superior over Caddy or Traffic, but because it was a learning opportunity. And if you are familiar with the stream, you know that learning in public is my thing, and I hope you sometimes have the opportunity to learn something from it too. Okie dokie. However, yeah, my motivation is falling off a cliff though, because I got so far by now that everything else is just filling out YAML, I feel like. And so the learning curve is flattening quite a bit at this point, I think. I can do that off stream when I maybe got myself after I got myself some ice cream or took a walk outside, because that's something that I'm really craving right now. Probably both. I'm still very familiar with that. I need to refresh my memory because by now we have chef cookbooks that abstract everything away in terms of Nginx setup. If I need an Nginx proxy, I'll just use the Nginx cookbook that I've built and pass it a few values, and that's it. It also includes Let's Encrypt. Everything is taken care of, so I don't have to set up certbot or anything like that. But yeah, I could have done that too, of course, but then again, I wouldn't have learned anything. And I really wanted to get more familiar with Ansible and see how these things actually work. And today I learned a lot. Today I learned a lot of foundational things as well, with how to structure your playbook directory and these things, and what are roles as opposed to what are collections and these things. So this today really helped. I'll have to digest that, but that's going to be taken care of by my subconscious. And so I'm pretty happy at this point. I did not write my response on the forum yet. I'll also have to set up Bunny VPN, no, not VPN, Bunny CDN, so I can upload yesterday's recording from our hot seat session. Again, hot seats are part of the program we do in the server room, my community of practice. When you get a membership in the server room, which you can get at very moderate prices, then you not only get access to a very friendly and safe community platform, we also do regular events like casual hangouts, but also hot seats where community members present us with a project that like feedback on, or something they're struggling with, and then I try to give some advice, and I also facilitate all the other participants on the call to give feedback and their own insight as well. And hopefully after about an hour, the volunteer leaves with lots of feedback, lots of motivation, lots of advice that they can then put into practice in that. So that's a very valuable thing to do. We also do community workshops, which I'm preparing at the moment. The upcoming community workshop is going to be how to set up a VPN from scratch with probably also Nginx and certbot and Jekyll as a static site generator, using Git to deploy changes to the website. This is going to be a workshop where we are going to do very hands-on Linux system administration stuff guided by me, and at the moment I'm writing the tutorial document for that. This is going to be one of the workshops that I'd like to make public, also because I think it's time to promote the indie web, to promote people taking care of their own web presence. So we get more independent of all these walled gardens that get more and more infested with idiots, either of the human kind or of the AI kind. And so I'd like to promote self-hosting, and that of course needs practical advice as well, practical guidance for people who aren't yet full-fledged system administrators. And so that's the long-term goal for me, my workshops, my courses, where I'd like to help junior engineers in general, but also people just getting into doing their own thing, to be able to take control over their own presence on the web, be it with their website or, for example, setting up your own Mastodon instance as well. I'll happily provide the playbook that I'm building right now. where people can actually take a modest VPS and set up their own Mastodon instance there to become independent of the huge behemoth instances like Mastodon.social, and also learn some basic system administration so they can actually do something when stuff breaks. Another thing that I'd like to foster is help more professional people, help people who want to make Linux system administration or software engineering their profession, to help them to get into this and maybe start a business catering to people who want to do things independently of all these walled gardens and big tech products where as we all know, we are actually the products, either feeding their advertisement engines or rather lately their large language models and stuff like that. I'll get off my soapbox now, but I'm really passionate about this because I'm passionate about teaching system administration and software engineering, and I think I've found my cause, I found my audience as well. And I hope this is going to be something that's viable and that actually finds an audience. All right, so if you'd like to check out our community platform, check out the serverroom.sh. If you'd like to volunteer for another hot seat session, maybe next month, then get in touch. Let us know on the forum. And yeah, I guess that's it for today. And thank you, Balthazar, for your kind words. That's really nice. Okay, I guess that's it. It's Thursday. That means tomorrow I'll be back with my office hour at 2 p.m. Irish time or 1 p.m. UTC. I'll do another live stream, but this time I'm not going to do any work in my terminal, except if you ask me to, because it's going to be up to you what I'll do. Office hour means you ask questions and I try to come up with answers, or try to come up with examples as well. If it's something practical, I'll be more than happy to try and demonstrate how to do something, if I can. And so I hope to see you again tomorrow. And for the time being, that's it. Until we see each other next time, take care.